Morning, friends. Ash here, WAT News, with some news updates and election updates. It's Saturday, December the 12th, 2020. And I saw this breakout last night, but I figured I'd report about it this morning. U.S. Supreme Court throws out Texas lawsuit against Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin by Jim Hoft. Breaking news, SCOTUS throws out Texas' suit attempting to challenge presidential election results in 4 battleground states, granting Texas leave to file its complaint, but summarily dismissing its suit for lack of standing. The end of justice in America. SCOTUS claims Texas has not demonstrated a judicially recognizable interest in the matter. In the manner? In the matter? Maybe in the matter. Could be in the matter. No, I think the matter's right. Friday, December 11th. Order in pending case 155. Original Texas vs. Pennsylvania et al. The state of Texas's motion for leave to file a bill of complaint is denied for lack of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its elections. All other pending motions are dismissed as moot. Statement of Justice Alito, with whom Justice Thomas joins. In my view, we do not have discretion to deny the filing of a bill of complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction. See Arizona vs. California 589 U.S., February 24, 2020. Thomas J. dissenting. I would therefore grant the motion to file the bill of complaint, but would not grant other relief, and I express no view on any other issue. Certiorari granted. Goldman Sachs Group et al. V. AR teacher retirement. The petition for a writ of certiorari is granted. Okay. Well, it looks like they didn't totally strike it down. If we read back, it sounds like it says here that, where did he say it? We do not have discretion to deny the filing of a bill of complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction. But you did deny it. I would therefore grant the motion to file the bill of complaint, but would not grant other relief. So he is granting the motion. He granted the bill of complaint, the motion to file the bill, but there's no other relief will be granted. And he expresses no view on any other issue. So I think what this is boiling down to is they just got to get the right, it's got to be the right case, and it's got to be set up the right way, and it's got to be filed in a particular way, is my guess. Maybe it's an individual state suing another individual state. I don't see. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, guys. We need the lawyer heads to start putting the heads together, and I know a bunch of great people have done that already. They've shown some ways that this could be remedied, and it's going to have to play out. You're playing out in their system, right? If we know maritime admiralty law, the court system is under maritime admiralty law, right? So you have to play that game, and it's a corrupt system. It's a system that was set up to protect the mechanism that's in place of your enslavement. So, just because it says the Supreme Court doesn't mean, right? You're going to have to go in there and fight just as hard, because there's some bad people on the Supreme Court too that don't want this to go forward, right? So we got to get the right combination, is my guess. So this article, what now? The fight for our freedom continues despite the ruling. In a shock to all who value justice, the Supreme Court turned down the Texas 2020 case. SCOTUS throws out Texas' suit attempting to challenge presidential election results in 4 battleground states, granting Texas leave to file its complaint, but summarily dismissing its suit for lack of standing. So they got some part of it as a victory, though. It looks like to me. They did grant part of it, right? SCOTUS claims Texas did not demonstrate a judicially recognizable interest in the matter. Well, how could they not be interested in the matter? They're part of the 50 states that's in the election. How are they not? I'm not getting that. I don't really get that argument. Sorry, guys. Doesn't sound right to me, but then again, I don't have a law degree for a reason, right? By the way, I used to watch that show, The Paper Chase, when that was an awesome show. Go back and, if you're a lawyer and you're younger, go back and check out The Paper Chase, man. Awesome show. So individuals can take over the election process in certain predetermined states enough to steal the presidency of the House, and that's okay? There's no impact on the rest of the country? A man who's made billions on other countries at the expense of American citizens can steal an election using every possible opportunity to manufacture votes and steal votes from his opponent. And it has no impact on average, hard-working, tax-paying Americans. No one in their right mind believes Biden won this election, and most Americans believe he stole it. Tonight they're drinking champagne in China. But the ruling by the court was based on the jurisdiction and not the merits, so there may be some hope. We just read that, so we don't have to go revisit that. Interesting, Lynn Wood announces Georgia case finally docketed at U.S. Supreme Court. So here we got another one coming now from Georgia. Attorney Lynn Wood announced on Friday that his case was finally docketed at the U.S. Supreme Court. If the U.S. Supreme Court shows great wisdom and courage, the American people will win perhaps the most important case in history, and our electoral process will be respected again, Lynn Wood added. I filed this lawsuit on my own since time was of the essence. Georgia election was unlawful. It diluted our in-person votes and violated equal protection. I do not know if my case will be successful, but the cherished right to vote belongs to each individual member of we the people. Exactly, right? I mean, he's got to give it a shot. I strongly believe my appeal to U.S. Supreme Court has merit. An 11-3 Georgia election was unlawful. My legal rationale tracks subsequently filed Texas petition REGA. After 43 years of law practice, I know lawyers cannot control judges. We do the best we can and pray they get it right. It's really all you can do in a corrupt system like this, right? And he knows it. You know, why is it called a court of law, right? What do you do in a court, right? Don't you play tennis on a tennis court? What do you use to play tennis? A racket, right? So, there you guys go. The whole thing's a racket. It always was. They're telling it to you, but you got to be able to see the little messages in between, right? Caught this out of Newsmax. Jeb Bush is getting scared now. He wants the election to be over. Says it's all over. We got to move on now. So I think you got to move on, Jeb. So you can see there's a lot of pressure from the other side, right? They're trying to make sure this election goes through. And it's basically like it's a tale of two countries, right? I mean, I could read these sites all day, right? I can go to 7 different sites and show you stuff that's going on about the election in this way, right? With showing the legal cases. But then if I go on to CNN and mainstream, there's no talk about that. Not even in the New York Post, really. Very little. Very little. And you're starting to see people on who Trump thought was on his team. They're actually not on the team, baby. Kemp's not on the team. You know what I mean? These guys aren't on the team. Is this guy on the team? Is this guy? I don't know. I'm starting to think he's not on the team. You know? If he was on the team, he would have started doing some kind of prosecutions by now of somebody. Right? We're just not seeing that. And this guy goes all the way back to Bush. Papa Bush. Not Junior. Papa. All the way back. So this guy's got skeletons deep in the closet, is my guess. And he's either hedging, or he's going to have to be forced, or there's only really one other option, that he is a good guy, but he's holding back till he gets proper information. And he gets the proper data, and he's one of those sleeper types that looks harmless, and then he comes up and he slits your throat, right? So we'll see about that. Sometimes it's the small, quiet ones you got to watch out for, right? They're the most dangerous, and he's one of those. So we'll see what happens with Barr. GOP concern is growing amid revelations of Democrat ties with China, right? So you're starting to see more and more, and I did those couple of digs just to show. I wasn't aware that Dianne Feinstein's husband was a major player in that company, URS, and URS, he was a big player in that, and they got these huge government contracts right back in the day, and I showed those articles in there. And if you didn't check out that dig, go check it out. And so you have a big connection, right, with that one deal. Now the question becomes, does this URS, which got bought up by this company named AECOM, which is, I just call it ACOM, and they're this huge monolith of a, company that has aero defense and all kinds of stuff. They have military. They're connected in with military here, and it started to look like to me that, hey, we could be super compromised with a company like this, because it's saying that it's only American, but it has so many sub companies that it sucks up under its umbrella, and I think that's where another side problem is you have these like in the games, right? Like they'll say, oh, it's Umbrella Corp. But these things could be real too. Some of them I think are real, and they're showing you these things in the games, and they're actually real. And there are these massive, funds like this now that have become so huge and have so many different other corporations, under their umbrella that it could be very easy for. And I showed you all those shell companies that were like under Yang Enterprises, right? Possibly, that are named Yang Enterprises LLC. So, you just make up an LLC. It could be any name, right? And these people, that's what they do. They're shell corporations, right? They just make up a fake company. You put a couple of guys in an office somewhere, and nobody really knows where the hell if anyone's there, right? And this is similar organization to how, an organized crime family would run to do certain things, right? It's the same thing. It's how do I give orders to somebody where I'm removed from the whole thing and I don't have any involvement. I have plausible deniability, which is what Biden's brother said when asked by Bob Alinsky, right? When Bob Alinsky basically says to Biden, like, how do you guys get away with the stuff that you're doing? Like, you're getting money from the Chinese, like, how are you doing this? And the brother basically says, yeah, plausible deniability. That's why the president always wants plausible deniability. He wants to be removed if the CIA is doing something dirty, right? Like, say they have a drug running operation that's going on for a long time. Well, the president doesn't want to know about that, right? He needs plausible deniability. He needs to be removed from it, at least 1 or 2 levels. And that's what some of this shit is about with these corporations, That's my take on it. And if you get these massive companies like that where they're dealing with your aerospace and they're dealing with your military, then you better be sure about the other companies that are involved with these people, right? Or else you could have a real serious problem. You could be infiltrated. And it's starting to appear that we've been infiltrated not only through certain politicians, but also through the schools, through the college system. And it's not just China. I mean, think about it. You got kids coming here from all over the world, from all kinds of different countries. And how are you vetting those people? Do you know who they really are? Do you know who they're involved with? Could some of them be spies, right? This is the old spy game. It goes all the way back to, the beginning and before of the CIA. This is really why they created the CIA, because they realized that this, they needed something like a mechanism like this, but it metastasized into some kind of other thing. And that's why Kennedy always said, I want to scatter the CIA to the winds, because he saw, I think, the problem of it and how it had gotten off track. And and then the other thing with Kennedy that I think was super interesting was, he knew what these secret programs were, and he was trying to destroy those too. And so you start to realize that there's levels above president. There's information that the president doesn't even know, and he should, but he doesn't. So, not to get too deep into that rabbit hole. I think what I'm going to start doing next is, there's so many secret programs to look into, and not just MK Ultra, but like I heard a guy talking about Hulk program, and I started to realize that there was probably not just one super soldier program. And if you saw that article, I think it was China making super soldiers or something using like gene editing, gene splicing technology, gene editing, China conducting biological tests to create super soldiers. So, is this like another soft, I don't know, it could be a soft disclosure because these programs have been going on for a long time. That's what I'm guessing. And, when they show you like Captain America and stuff like that, that was like a real program. But what I heard was that the secret space program was doing that to actually be able to fight like the Draco lizards and some of these other species on other planets that are like very powerful and strong that we had no chance against unless we can somehow augment a person or, do stuff like that. So if you watch the secret space program vids and stuff, you start to realize that the story we were told was a lie. And I kind of backtracked the story. I found a couple of good websites that like literally go like year by year and sort of flesh out, what we did with the Greys and the mistakes that we made. And basically from all the research that I did, it seems to me that what we did was we made some kind of an agreement with what's called the hook-nosed Greys or the long-nosed Greys, which are the taller Greys. And in exchange for, and I think this was Eisenhower, and in exchange for technology, we said, okay, you can take a certain amount of people off planet. But you have to put them back, and you could take their DNA or experiment or do something to them, right? But you got to put them back. Can't kill them. And so apparently, as the story goes, they did that for a while, and then they realized that they just weren't honoring it, and they were taking way more people off planet than. And here's the other problem, right? If you really digest the whole Byrd story, right, Admiral Byrd, okay, so he goes down to Antarctica. Well, what happens? Well, flying saucers come out of the water. That's the story, right? And so what happens? They leave and they realize, wow, there's a sect of Germans that went down to Antarctica. They made their own separate society, and they're way more advanced than us technologically now. What are we going to do about it, right? You remember the flyovers of the spacecraft, the UFOs over the White House, right? So what's happening in these period, and this is my opinion, is that we're shitting our pants because we realize we didn't win the war, right? Not only did we let the paperclip Nazis in with paperclip because we wanted the tech that they had, but they were already, the Nazis, way further ahead than we realized. They had already gone off planet probably by the end of the war and had started to, if you believe the secret space program stories that are being told, that they went off planet and started colonizing other planets and taking people off planet as well, kidnap and stuff like that. So, you have multiple races that are possibly here kidnapping people, right? There's a whole other backstory we're not being told. So yeah, there's a whole thing with the election, but there's like the alien backstory too, and then you have the ascension story is 3, right? So you have this whole swirling thing going down all at the same time. Here's one from the Sun. I just wanted to cover this real quick. Terminator troops, China developing super soldiers like Captain America after conducting biological tests on troops. U.S. spies warn. I mean, we've been. This is the idiocy of this, right? Because if anybody's done any research, you would know we've been doing this already to our own people, right? We've experimented on our own troops, and we've done MK Ultra. We've done all kinds of stuff. Super soldier programs. If you remember the movie Men Who Stare at Goats, right? With I think Clooney. That was a real program. That's when the CIA started to, and what I think started to happen is, and I know a little bit, I have some inklings about this, but I don't know, is that, but if you study the cases of people like, certain people have come forward, right, and said, yeah, like I was in a program like in my labs, or I was in this company and they did a program, and I was in that program. And so what happened is some people were like, their memories were taken away, but they came back and they realized that stuff had been done to them, right? And so that's going to be a whole other part of this story, I think, that's going to start coming out. Like the depth of the government programs, because there were so many different programs that the CIA and other people were doing, these secret space program guys were doing. You know, they had programs that were compartmentalized above the president's clearance level, if you can believe that. So there's actually levels of top secret that's even above the president's purview that he can't see, which that shouldn't be legal, right? The president should have the highest clearance of anybody, right? Who has a higher clearance than the president? Probably just God, right? There's no other person, not in the United States government, that should have higher clearance. John Ratcliffe, who currently serves as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence, made the claim in a newspaper editorial warning that China posed the greatest threat to America today. You know, China's got their own deep state too. I mean, if you remember, China was our ally in World War II, right? We were allies with these guys not too long ago. So what happened? Well, what happened was we inserted in the communist people in there who turned it into communism. We did that. But it's not that knowledgeable, but there were people from America that had interest over there for a long, long time. It's a very complicated history with the United States and China. At one time, I believe we sent a destroyer over there. So I'll do a dig about that. You know, this goes back to there's a lot of history, man, and you got to realize something about China. They look at history in a much different way. They're 3,000 plus years old. We're like 300 plus, you know. So, you know, these guys have been around a long, long time. These guys fought, you know, Genghis Khan. So, all right? So, I don't think they're too worried about any other enemy, right? But the point is, these people are patient, they're smart, they're very intelligent, and they have their own deep state to get rid of. I don't think that, I don't know, you know, we got to see where Xi is on there, right? There's some people saying, well, Xi's actually not, you know, working with Trump, or he's on the same side. And he's trying to get rid of his own deep state. So, got to see what's going on. But you could see that China was the blueprint for the grid country, right? That's what they wanted to do. That's the way China is going to be how the deep state wanted the world. That's my opinion. They wanted you locked down, gridded in, nowhere you could go without being in the grid, and your travel would be curtailed at some point. You chipped up, and you know the whole rest of it, right? So that's the 1984 world. That's not going to happen now. So with that, guys, I appreciate you. We'll see how all these things play out with these lawsuits, man. Only takes one, right? Only takes the Supreme Court to accept one and rule the right way on it. So, and there's plenty of evidence. So that's the two movie thing I just wanted to end with. It's like, I said this before, you're watching two movies, right? And it depends on which movie you're watching. And what's going to happen, I think, is that when enough people are watching the right movie and they are envisioning what the world that they want to create, then it'll be created. And it's happening right now before your very eyes. As more people wake up, we start to create the new 5D world that we want to create. And eventually that's going to happen. So that's what I think, guys. Yeah, I mean, we got a big event coming, right? The 21st is coming. The planets are all going to align up. That's a major energy force right there that we need to work with, all of us, and do our inner work, you know? So with that, guys, I appreciate you. I'll let you go. We'll see how all these lawsuits play out. We got Ellen Woods, Georgia. Looks like it might be coming to the Supreme Court. So, in the Supreme Court, by the way, they didn't, if you read that very carefully, they didn't totally rule out everything, right? They did kind of go with them on one point of their argument, but the other point they didn't. So that it's not a total loss as far as I'm concerned. So with that, guys, I wish you peace and love. Have a great weekend. This is Ash, WAT News, signing off for now.